culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I believe that's true, that of these four, the one that is most commonly messed up in an organization, most in need of improvement, is culture. And so we're going to talk about culture from a couple different perspectives here. One is, how do you flat out make your culture better, more agile, more nimble, better able to adapt? A stronger culture is goal number one. Goal number two is to get culture to play well with the other areas, and in particular with strategy. If you can align your culture with your strategy, that is probably the biggest business success formula that there has ever been. To quote my good friend Tony Hsieh, he talks about brand as being culture. It's not that brand is influenced by culture. Increasingly in our world of social media and interconnection and full transparency, the culture of your business is your brand. So if you're trying to broadcast a message that is inconsistent with how people actually talk and behave in the company, people are going to believe the behavior and the brand will seem inauthentic. So that's what we're going to do here. Two goals. Number one, to build a flat out, great, world-class culture starting immediately. And number two, to make sure that the culture you build supports and enhances your ability to deliver on your strategy. So what this book and what this program is based on is my colleagues and I spent close to 10 years doing one of the biggest studies of organizational culture that was ever done. We looked at over 24,000 people in dozens of organizations. There are big companies here, there are small companies, there are startups, tons of mid-sized. We've got international data, we've even got nonprofits, we've got government sectors, and here is the Rosetta Stone of culture. Do not look at the person. Don't look at the person as being the linchpin of culture. Well then, if not the person, where do we look? The other obvious place is, let's look at the whole company. Let's measure the culture of the entire company. Now, if you're a mid-sized company, that may make some sense, but as you grow, it's going to increasingly get you in trouble. And here's why. When cultures get big, people naturally spend their time in much smaller groups. So I mentioned the Rosetta Stone. What is it? That every culture, regardless of company size, is best thought of as a set of interconnected tribes. Now, when people hear the word tribe, they often think of nose rings or primitive wisdom or something like that, and I mean no disrespect toward that. That is also not what I mean by the word tribe. The word tribe itself is Latin. So we're just borrowing and repurposing a word that comes from every tradition in humankind. Here's specifically what we mean by a tribe. It is a group naturally occurring between 20 and 150 people. That is the basic building block of any organization, regardless of size, whether we're talking about the biggest one on the planet or one that is a new startup. I work a lot with entrepreneurs, and some of them say, well, we've only got 5 people in our business, so you're saying we don't have a tribe? The answer, remember, regardless of company size, is no. That is just as much tribe, or should be, as the largest organizations in the world. Why? Tribes don't care about formal affiliation. They don't care what logo is on your business card. I'm a member of many tribes where I've never been an employee. People look at me as being somebody who hangs out there a lot. I'm someone who clusters with them socially, and I show up to do work as a consultant. And I'm a member of those tribes. Putting on my other hat for a moment, as a longtime professor at the University of Southern California in the business school, the Marshall School of Business, I sit on a lot of informal advisory boards and boards of directors and things like that for companies. So I'm invested, sometimes legally, sometimes emotionally, often both, in lots of small organizations. I would count as a member of the tribe. So the first thing we need to get you to do is to start thinking about the core tribe in your business, the one that is the most influential. Remember, it's going to have at least 20 people in it, and the max size is 150. So with that basic thought in mind, here's what we're going to accomplish for the rest of our time. 3 very simple objectives. Number 1 is we're going to hopefully encourage you to spot the tribe that you have that is most important, to identify your tribe. We also want to spend some time thinking about other tribes that you may not be a member of in your business, if your business is large, but how do you then influence those tribes through the people that you have? So remember, a tribe is composed of a tribe or a network of tribes. In very large businesses, the CEO or people in the C-suite are not members of the tribes that may actually deliver the work, but they're going to be networked with people who are. So I'm often asked, how long does all this take, the tribal leadership approach to culture? The answer is it takes about 90 days. Now, think about that for a moment. You can affect wide-scale, lasting culture change in your business 90 days from the date you're watching this. So just please think right now, what is 90 days from today? You could affect a wholesale culture change in your company in that short a period. And people say, well, how can you make that promise? Not all companies are the same. Some are big, some are small. You could probably change a small culture, but what about a large one? What about a mid-sized culture? Those are harder to change. Again, go back to the tribe. The biggest company in the world is composed of tribes. You change a culture one tribe at a time, or you can do a bunch of them at the same time. But your focus, your unit of analysis is going to be the tribe. That's your focus. So objective number one is to identify who is in your core tribe. Number two, we're going to take its temperature. We're going to measure it, actually put it real time on a scale between 1 and 5. 1 is everything you don't want, including, and I'm not exaggerating, stealing things, cooking the books, and accounting fraud. At the very top of culture are these groups that change the world, that are doing so much history-making innovation that they leave entire industries in their wake. Remember, we're talking about tribes. We're not talking about whole companies. The greatest miracle stories of the last decade have not been done by companies. They have been done by tribes within those companies. And that's what we're going to focus on. So goal 1, find the core tribe you're going to start with. Goal 2, before we're done here, to assess it, to measure it, to take its temperature on a scale of 1 to 5. And number 3, most important for people who want to lead change and make their companies more successful than they are, to upgrade those cultures in a very short period of time. So by the time we're done, the main output is going to be a list of actions that you're going to take very quickly that will cause your entire organization, which is composed of tribes, to change in about 90 days. That's a big promise, and I think you'll see by the time we're done, we can actually fulfill on it.